Pay attention to
Please,
how
will you
this little
marry
boy
me?
proposed
Oh,
to the
that's so
waitress
sweet of
hiding
you.
from her abusers. Miss Chinese, will you marry me? I promise I can make the bad guys go away and you won't need to hide again. She said yes, laughing. His billionaire father wasn't laughing, and her life would never be the same. If you love to see how the innocent question of a little boy saved the life of a slowly vanishing maid, hit that subscribe button and tell us where you're watching from. Chinese Willows pressed her spine harder against the grimy underside of the storage counter, knees hugged tight to her chest, heart thundering so loud she feared it would betray her hiding place. She knew that sound, the rumbling voice thick with afternoon liquor, heavy with entitlement, dripping with cruelty. Her father had found her again. Through the gap beneath the counter, she could see shadows stretching across the worn linoleum of Gangnam Restaurant's kitchen floor. Two sets of feet, one pair unsteady, weaving, the other eager, predatory. "Where's my girl at?" Her father's voice sliced through the afternoon stillness. "Chinese, don't make me come in there and drag you out." Her brother's laugh followed, mean, sharp, practiced, a sound that promised violence wrapped in family obligation. Chinese squeezed her eyes shut, willing herself invisible. 20 minutes, that was all she needed. 20 brutal minutes for them to get bored, for the manager to threaten police, for them to slink away empty-handed. She had 63,000 won folded inside her sock, barely enough for rent and her neighbor Jean's medicine, but it was hers. They weren't taking it. Not today. Not ever again. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. A soft rustle came from the shadows between two shelves of forgotten takeout containers. Her breath caught. Had they found her already? But instead of her father's sneer or her brother's greedy grin, a small face emerged from the darkness. A boy, no older than 6 or 7, with wide eyes that held galaxies of wonder. "Wow," he breathed, staring at her like she'd materialized from one of his storybooks. "You're so beautiful, like a damsel in distress." Despite the terror clawing at her throat, Chinese couldn't help but smile. "Thank you. I'm Chinese," she whispered. "And you?" "Jimin," he replied with a proud little puff of his chest. Then his face scrunched in curiosity. "What are you hiding from?" The question hung between them, innocent and devastating. What was she hiding from? Debt collectors masquerading as family? A lifetime of being nothing more than an ATM with a pulse? The crushing weight of never being enough, never being safe, never being free. "Bad guys," she finally said, keeping her tone light. "Very bad guys." Jimin's expression transformed, his jaw set with determination far too fierce for someone so small. "I can fight them for you," he declared solemnly. Her heart cracked open just a little. When was the last time anyone had wanted to protect her? "You're very brave, but some bad guys are too big to fight with fists." Jimin's brow furrowed in thought. Then, as if struck by divine inspiration, his face lit up with pure, childlike certainty. "Then you need protection," he announced. "Like in my storybooks, the princess always has a knight, or a prince, or," he paused dramatically, "a rich husband." Chinese had to cover her mouth to stifle the laugh bubbling up. "A rich husband?" "Yes." Jimin straightened his tiny shoulders, chest puffed out like a hero preparing for battle. "If you marry someone rich, the bad guys won't touch you. Everyone's scared of rich people." She leaned in, playing along because this was the sweetest, most absurd thing that had happened to her in months, years maybe. "So where do I find one of those?" Jimin gasped as if the answer was blindingly obvious. "Me!" And then, with all the earnest gravity a 6-year-old could muster, he asked the question that would change everything. "Will you marry me, Miss Shanice?" What Shanice didn't know, what she couldn't possibly know, was that this careless promise made to a lonely child would drag her straight into the world of Korea's most feared, most powerful trillionaire tycoon. And nothing would ever be the same. The kitchen door exploded open. Shanice's entire body went rigid. This was it. They'd found her. But the voice that cut through the chaos wasn't her father's drunken slur. It was something else entirely. Low, controlled, lethal. A man stepped into the storage room, and the very air seemed to rearrange itself around him. Tall, impeccably dressed in a black suit that probably cost more than Shanice made in a year. His face was carved from marble and authority, expression unreadable, eyes that could freeze oceans. Two more men flanked him, shadows in expensive suits, silent and dangerous. The restaurant noise died instantly. Even her father's rant cut off mid-word. "Daddy!" Ji-min squeaked, grabbing Shanice's hand. Shanice's stomach dropped like a stone into dark water. "Daddy?" The man, Song Woo-bin, though she didn't know his name yet, swept his cold gaze across the storage area. When those eyes landed on Ji-min, something flickered in their depths. Relief, anger, fear masked his fury. "Ji-min," he said, voice dangerously soft, "what are you doing back here?" Ji-min popped up like a jack-in-the-box, dragging Shanice with him, his tiny hand a lifeline in hers. "Daddy, this is Shanice. She's my fiancée." The word landed like a grenade in the middle of the kitchen. Woo Bin's gaze snapped to Shanice. She felt it like a physical weight, assessing, calculating, stripping away every defense she'd ever built. For the first time in her life, Shanice understood what it meant to be truly seen, and it terrified her. Her father recovered first, drunk courage making him reckless. "Who the hell are you? This is family business." Woo Bin didn't even glance at him. To one of his bodyguards, he said quietly, "Remove them." What happened next was swift, brutal in its efficiency. Her father lunged. A hand clamped on his arm. He yelped. Her brother tried to intervene. Another bodyguard blocked him, without a word, without breaking a sweat. In less than 30 seconds, the two men who had terrorized Shanice for years were being escorted out like unwanted garbage. Woo Bin finally looked at Shanice again, really looked at her. "Are you hurt?" 3 words, simple, but loaded with something she couldn't name. Concern? Obligation? She shook her head, throat too tight to speak. Ji-min tugged her sleeve, beaming. "See? I told you! Rich people make bad guys go away!" Woo Bin's mouth twitched, almost a smile, gone before it could fully form. He extended a hand toward her, not demanding, offering. "Come, it's safer outside." Shanice hesitated. Her father was still cursing in the distance, being dragged toward the exit. The manager hovered nearby, pale and silent, clearly wanting no part of whatever was unfolding. Ji-min squeezed her fingers. "Please, you promised." She looked down at the boy, small, earnest, brave in ways she hadn't been in years. Then she looked at the man who could make entire rooms go quiet with a single glance. And, against every instinct screaming at her to run, to hide, to protect herself, Shanice took his hand. She had no idea she'd just sealed her fate with Korea's most dangerous man. Hit that subscribe button as we continue our story.
3 days. That's how long it took for Shanice's entire world to flip upside down and inside out. After the incident at Gangnam Restaurant, she'd thought she'd never see Woo Bin or Ji-min again. It had been a strange, surreal moment, like stepping into someone else's life for 5 minutes before reality snapped back. But reality, it turned out, had other plans. On the 3rd day, a sleek black car pulled up outside her tiny apartment. The kind of car that didn't belong in her neighborhood. The kind that made curtains twitch and neighbors whisper. Woo Bin stepped out, dressed in another flawless suit, expression unreadable behind dark sunglasses. Shanice stood frozen on her doorstep, still in her waitress uniform, wondering if this was some kind of fever dream. "Miss Willows," he said, voice formal, detached. "We need to talk." That's how she found herself sitting in the back of a luxury car that smelled like leather and money, driving through Seoul toward a life she couldn't begin to comprehend. Woo Bin didn't speak for the first 10 minutes, just stared out the window, jaw tight, fingers drumming against his knee, the only sign he was human beneath that icy exterior. Finally, he turned to her. "Jimin is sick," he said, without preamble. "Congenital heart disease. He's been on transplant lists for 2 years. The doctors say if we don't find a match soon—" He didn't finish, didn't need to. Shanice's heart clenched. That beautiful, brave little boy who'd wanted to fight her battles was fighting his own, one he might not win. "I'm sorry," she whispered, not knowing what else to say. "He talks about you constantly," Woo Bin continued, something soft flickering beneath his steel exterior. "His fiancée, the damsel he saved. In his mind, you're already family." The weight of those words settled over Shanice like snow, cold, beautiful, suffocating. "Mr. Song," "Woo Bin," he interrupted. "If we're going to do this, call me Woo Bin." "Do what?" Her pulse quickened. He pulled an envelope from his jacket, crisp, official, terrifying. "I need you to marry me," he said, as casually as if he were discussing the weather. Temporarily, for Jimin's sake." Shanice's brain short-circuited. "Excuse me?" "A fake engagement," Woo Bin clarified, though his eyes held something unreadable. "Jimin's condition is worsening. The stress isn't helping. But ever since he met you, he's been lighter, hopeful. The doctors say his mental state directly impacts his physical recovery. If believing you're his future stepmother gives him something to fight for." He paused, and for the first time, Shanice saw the cracks in his armor, the desperation of a father watching his child slip away. "I'll pay you," he added quickly, "whatever you need, rent, medical bills, your neighbor, Jean, is it? I can cover his treatment too. All I'm asking is that you pretend, just until Jimin gets better, or doesn't." The unspoken words hung between them like ghosts. Shanice should have said no, should have run. This was insane, dangerous, a fairy tale twisted into something dark and desperate. But then she remembered Jimin's face when he'd asked her to marry him, the hope in his eyes, the fierce, innocent belief that love could conquer anything. "Okay," she heard herself say, "I'll do it." Woo Bin's shoulders sagged, just barely, with relief. "Thank you," he said quietly. And as the car pulled up to a mansion that looked like it belonged in a different universe, Shanice realized she'd just agreed to play house with a man who could buy and sell lives like stocks. What she didn't know is that some games change you forever, and there's no going back. Living with Woo Bin was like existing in a beautiful gilded cage. The mansion was obscenely huge, rooms she'd never entered, staff who moved like ghosts, luxury that felt suffocating rather than freeing. But none of that mattered when Jimin's laughter echoed through the halls. The little boy had latched on to Shanice like she was oxygen. Every morning he'd burst into her room, which was notably 3 doors down from Woo Bin's, dragging her to breakfast with stories about dragons and knights and happily ever afters. Woo Bin watched them with an expression Shanice couldn't decipher, something between gratitude and longing, like he was seeing something he'd lost and desperately wanted back. The first crack in Woo Bin's armor came 2 weeks in. Jimin had been rushed to the hospital, another emergency, another terrifying reminder that time was running out. Shanice had insisted on going, despite Woo Bin's attempt to shield her from the worst of it. She found him in the hospital corridor at 3 a.m., head in his hands, shoulders shaking with silent sobs he thought no one could see. Chinese didn't think, she just moved, sitting beside him, wrapping her arms around this man who'd built walls so high he'd forgotten what it felt like to let someone in. "He's going to be okay," she whispered, even though she had no right to promise that. Wu Bin didn't pull away. Instead, he leaned into her touch like a drowning man finding shore. "I can't lose him," he choked out. "He's all I have." "You have me," Chinese said before she could stop herself. And in that moment, something shifted. The fake engagement felt a little less fake. The borrowed life felt a little more real. Days blurred into weeks. Chinese found herself integrated into their world in ways she never expected. She learned Wu Bin took his coffee black, no sugar, that he worked 18-hour days but never missed Jimin's bedtime story, that beneath the ice there was a man capable of devastating tenderness. And Wu Bin, he was learning too, learning that Chinese hummed when she cooked, that she cried during animated movies, that she'd sacrificed everything for people who gave her nothing and somehow still had enough heart left to love his son like her own. The second crack came during a charity gala. Wu Bin had asked her to attend for appearances, he'd said, but when she descended the staircase in an emerald gown that made her feel like someone else entirely, the look on his face was anything but pretend. "You're beautiful," he'd said, voice rough. "It's the dress," she deflected. "No," he corrected softly, "it's you." All evening, he kept her close, hand at her back, eyes tracking her across the room like she might disappear if he looked away. And when someone made a snide comment about the help playing dress-up, Wu Bin's response was swift and brutal. "That's my fiancé you're speaking about. Apologize, now." The room had gone silent. The offender had stammered an apology, and Chinese had realized, with heart-stopping clarity, that this wasn't about keeping up appearances anymore. This was real. That night, back at the mansion, Wu Bin walked her to her room. They stood at her door, the air between them electric, terrifying. "Chinese," he started, then stopped. "Wu Bin," she whispered. "This was supposed to be fake, but I know, me too." He cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheek. "I don't want to hurt you." "Then don't," she breathed. And when he kissed her, soft, reverent, like she was something precious, Chinese knew there was no going back. But love born from desperation is fragile, and the storms were just beginning.
The call came at 4:17 a.m. Chinese jolted awake to Wu Bin's phone vibrating violently on the nightstand. Yes, his nightstand, because sometime in the past month, the pretense had crumbled entirely. They'd stopped pretending she slept in the guest room, stopped pretending this was temporary. Wu Bin answered, voice rough with sleep. Then his entire body went rigid. "When?" Pause. "How bad?" Another pause, longer this time. "I'm on my way." He was already moving, throwing on clothes, every movement sharp with barely contained panic. "What happened?" Janice asked, though dread was already pooling in her stomach. "Jimin," Wu Bin said, voice cracking. "He collapsed. They're taking him into emergency surgery." The world tilted. They made it to the hospital in record time, Wu Bin driving like a man possessed, Chinese gripping the door handle, praying to gods she'd stopped believing in years ago. The waiting room became their purgatory. Hours stretched into eternity. Wu Bin paced like a caged animal, jaw clenched so tight Chinese thought it might shatter. And then, as if the universe hadn't dealt them enough blows, she arrived. Madame Song, Wu Bin's mother, a woman carved from ice and ambition, draped in designer labels and disdain. "Wu Bin," she said, sweeping into the waiting room like she owned it. Her eyes landed on Chinese with the warmth of a winter storm. "And who is this?" "My fiancé," Wu Bin said firmly. "Chinese Willows."
Madame Song's laugh was sharp, cruel. "Oh, darling, this is even more pathetic than I thought." Chinese felt the words like physical blows, but Wu Bin stepped between them, protective, furious. "Not now, mother," he warned. "When then?" she snapped. "When you've completely destroyed what's left of this family's reputation? That child needs stability, not some charity case playing dress-up." Before Wu Bin could respond, the doors to the surgical wing burst open. A doctor emerged, mask still on, expression grave. "Mr. Song," he said quietly, "we need to talk." The words that followed shattered everything. Jimin's heart is failing faster than we anticipated. Without a transplant in the next few weeks, I'm sorry, but we're running out of time. Wu Bin staggered like he'd been shot. Janice caught him, held him, felt his heart breaking against her chest. And Madame Song? She smiled, a cold, calculated smile that promised war. "Perhaps," she said sweetly, venom dripping from every word, "it's time we discussed what's really best for my grandson, and it certainly isn't this arrangement." The battle for Jimin's life and for their fragile love had only just begun. Hit that subscribe button if you truly want to support us. War came dressed in Chanel and carrying legal documents. Madame Song wasted no time. Within 72 hours of Jimin's surgery, she'd filed for emergency custody, citing Wu Bin's unstable personal life and questionable romantic choices as evidence he was unfit to care for a critically ill child. The allegations were brutal, systematic, designed to destroy. Chinese was a gold digger exploiting a desperate father. Wu Bin was mentally unstable, making reckless decisions. Jimin's condition had worsened under their care. All lies, but lies wrapped in expensive legal paper carry weight. Chinese sat across from Wu Bin in his study, watching him unravel. Papers scattered across the mahogany desk, coffee gone cold. The man who'd faced down corporate rivals without flinching was being gutted by his own mother. "Maybe she's right," he said hollowly. "Maybe I am being selfish. Maybe you deserve better than this mess." Chinese slammed her hand on the desk, fury blazing. "Don't you dare," she hissed. "Don't you dare let her win. Jimin needs you. He needs us." "But what if she takes him?" Wu Bin's voice broke. "What if I lose him because of me, because of us?" "Then we fight," said Chinese fiercely. "We fight until there's nothing left to fight with. That little boy asked me to marry him to make the bad guys go away. Well, your mother is just another bad guy, and I don't back down from bad guys anymore." Something sparked in Wu Bin's eyes. Hope, admiration, love so profound it hurt. "How did I get so lucky?" he whispered. "You're not lucky," she corrected, cupping his face. "You're loved." But love, they discovered, wasn't always enough. The custody hearing was a nightmare. Madame Song's lawyers tore through every aspect of their relationship: the fake engagement origin, the rushed timeline, Chinise's impoverished background. "Isn't it true, Miss Willows," the lead attorney sneered, "that you agreed to this arrangement for financial gain?" "No," Chinese said firmly. "I agreed because a little boy needed hope, and I fell in love because his father showed me what it means to be cherished." The courtroom fell silent. Even the judge looked moved. But Madame Song wasn't finished. She played her trump card, a medical expert testifying that Jimin's stress levels had increased since Chinese entered the picture. It was a lie, a beautifully crafted, professionally delivered lie. The judge called for a recess. Wu Bin looked defeated. And then Chinese remembered something. She'd been compiling evidence, secretly, methodically. Bank transfers from Madame Song to the expert witness. Emails between her and Wu Bin's ex-wife, plotting this entire takedown months in advance. recorded conversations where she admitted this was about control, not Ji-min's welfare. Chinese handed the drive to their lawyer. "Leak it," she said. "All of it, tonight." Wu Bin stared at her. "You'll destroy her publicly." "Good," Chinese said coldly. "She tried to destroy us first." By midnight, the story broke. Headlines screamed betrayal, corruption, a grandmother willing to sacrifice her grandson for corporate playoffs. The custody motion was withdrawn by morning. But the real victory came when Ji-min woke from sedation, groggy and confused, and asked, "Did the bad guys go away?" Chinese nodded, tears streaming. "They're gone, baby. They're all gone." Now all that remained was the impossible wait for a miracle.
The call came at 2:43 a.m. on a Tuesday. Wu Bin's phone shattered the fragile quiet of their bedroom. Chinese had moved in permanently after the custody battle, all pretense abandoned. They'd stopped caring what anyone thought. Let the world judge. They had more important battles to fight. "Mr. Song?" The doctor's voice was steady, controlled, but beneath it, hope. "We have a match. The donor heart is viable. We need to move now." Time stopped, then exploded into motion. They arrived at the hospital in a blur of adrenaline and prayer. Ji-min was already being prepped, small body draped in surgical gowns that made him look even more fragile, more breakable. But his eyes, those brave, beautiful eyes, were shining. "Mom," he said, the words still new, still precious. "Dad, I'm getting my new heart." Chinese couldn't speak past the lump in her throat. Wu Bin knelt beside the bed, pressing his forehead to Ji-min's. "You're the bravest person I know. I'm so proud of you." "Will you guys still be here when I wake up?" Ji-min asked, voice small. "Forever," Chinese promised. "We'll be right here, always." They wheeled him away, and the waiting began. 11 hours. 11 hours of pacing, praying, breaking down and pulling each other back together. Wu Bin's composure cracked completely around hour 8. He collapsed into Chinese's arms, sobbing like the world was ending. "I can't lose him. Not now. Not when we finally have everything." "He's going to make it," Chinese said, with a conviction she didn't feel. "He has to. He promised to be our ring bearer, remember? He promised to throw flowers at our wedding." Wu Bin laughed through the tears, broken, desperate, hopeful. At hour 11, the surgeon emerged, exhausted, smiling. The surgery was successful, and the world started spinning again. Ji-min strong, the new heart is beating perfectly. He's going to need extensive recovery, but he's going to make it. Wu Bin's knees buckled. Chinese caught him, held him, and they cried together, messy, ugly, beautiful tears of relief. 3 weeks later, Ji-min walked down the hospital corridor for the first time, slow, careful, but walking. No oxygen tank, no IV pole, just a small hand clutching Chinese's on one side and Wu Bin's on the other. "Look," he grinned up at them, "I'm taller already." Chinese laughed, bright, unguarded, free. "You're definitely growing. Must be all that hospital jello." Wu Bin's smile was softer, quieter. He hadn't stopped watching Ji-min like he might vanish if he blinked too long. That evening, back home, real home, the mansion that had transformed from a gilded cage into a sanctuary, Wu Bin led Chinese to the formal living room. It had been transformed. Fairy lights strung across the ceiling, a small table set for 3, Ji-min already there, bouncing on his toes, wearing his favorite blue hoodie. "Surprise!" he shouted. Ji-min ran to a side table and picked up a velvet box. He thrust it at Chinese with both hands. "Open it!" Inside lay a thin platinum chain with 3 pendants, 1 emerald for Ji-min, 1 diamond for her, 1 black onyx for Wu Bin. Simple, interlocking,
a family forged not by blood, but by choice. Shanice's throat closed. Daddy said we're already a family, but he wants to make it forever, with vows and cake and me throwing flowers. She looked at Wu Bin. He was already on one knee. Shanice Willows, I once thought love was a liability, something that could be weaponized, taken away. Then a little boy dragged you out behind a counter and asked you to marry him, and you said yes, not for money, not for status, but to protect him, to give him hope when I couldn't. Tears slipped down her cheeks. You saved him. You saved me. I don't want fake anymore. I want forever, messy, beautiful, with bad days and hospital visits and fireflies in the garden. Marry me, for real this time, please. Ji-min whispered loudly, she's supposed to say yes now. Shanice laughed through the tears. Yes, she breathed. Yes, yes, yes. And in that moment, everything finally felt right.
Spring arrived like a promise kept. Cherry blossoms painted soul in shades of pink and white, petals drifting through the air like confetti from heaven. And in a private Hanok courtyard, surrounded by ancient trees and newer promises, Shanice Willows and Song Woo Ben prepared to make their forever official. The morning of the wedding, Shanice stood in front of the mirror, hardly recognizing herself. The gown was simple yet stunning, white silk with emerald accents, flowing lines that whispered rather than shouted. African print details woven into the hem, a quiet nod to her roots, to the girl who'd hidden behind counters and believed she'd never deserve this kind of love. Ji-min burst into the room, already dressed in his tiny suit, hair impossibly neat. "Mom," he gasped, "you look like a real princess." Her heart swelled. "You look pretty handsome yourself, ring-bearer." He puffed up proudly, then his expression turned serious. "Are you scared?" "A little," I admitted. "Good scared, though, like before a really amazing adventure." Ji-min nodded wisely, then took her hand. "It's okay. Daddy's scared too, I can tell. But you both love each other, and you both love me, so it's gonna be perfect." Shanice knelt, pulling him into a fierce hug. "When did you get so smart?" "I've always been smart. I picked you, didn't I?" The ceremony was intimate, just trusted friends, loyal staff, no press, no ghosts from the past. The officiant stood beneath a canopy of cherry blossoms, petals drifting down like blessings. Wu Bin waited at the altar in a black hanbok with subtle modern lines. When Shanice appeared, his expression cracked, raw emotion flooding through. He didn't bother hiding the tears. Ji-min walked ahead of her, scattering petals with such enthusiasm that half ended up in his own hair. The guests laughed, warm, genuine, the kind of laughter that heals. When Shanice reached Wu Bin, he took her hands like they were made of starlight. "Hi," he whispered. "Hi," she whispered back. The ceremony blended traditions, Korean bowing rituals, a hand-fasting cord in green and gold, vows spoken in English and Korean. When the officiant asked if they took each other, Ji-min shouted, "They do!" before either could answer. Laughter rippled through the gathering. Wu Bin grinned. Shanice couldn't stop smiling. And when Wu Bin finally kissed her, soft, reverent, eternal, the world felt complete. Later at the reception under string lights, Ji-min tugged Shanice's dress. "Mom," he asked softly, testing the word, "can I call you that for real now?" Her heart stuttered. She knelt, pulling him close. "You already have been. In here," she said, tapping his chest right over his new heart. "In here. And now out here, too." He hugged her tight. "I love you, Mom." "I love you too, brave knight." Wu Bin watched from a few steps away, eyes shining with unshed tears.
That night, after the guests had gone and Ji-min was asleep upstairs clutching his stuffed dragon, Shanice and Woo Bin stood on the balcony overlooking the garden. She leaned against him, breathing in the night air. "We made it." "We did," he agreed. She looked up at the stars. "I used to think rich people only bought things. Turns out the richest thing you gave me was time, safety, a family." He turned her to face him. "And you gave me back my heart, both of them." They kissed under the quiet soul sky, slow, certain, eternal. But their story wasn't over yet. The best was still to come.
1 year later, Janice stood in the garden, barefoot on cool grass, watching Ji-min chase fireflies with a net made from an old pillowcase. He was faster now, stronger, his laughter ringing through the evening air like music. Woo Bin came up behind her, arms sliding around her waist, chin resting on her shoulder. "He's really okay," she whispered, as if saying it louder might jinx everything. "He is," Woo Bin confirmed, "because of you." She turned in his arms, "Because of us." He kissed her, slow, deep, the kind of kiss that said everything words stumbled over. Madame Song had retreated to her Jeju estate, silent and humiliated after the media storm. The ex-wife had disappeared entirely, last seen boarding a flight to Singapore with a one-way ticket. The threats had dissolved like morning mist. But more importantly, the joy had returned, real, unguarded, permanent joy. Ji-min ran over, breathless and glowing. "Look!" He opened his hands to reveal a firefly, its light pulsing gently. "It's like a tiny star." "Beautiful," Janice agreed. He released it, watching it drift upward. Then he turned to them, expression suddenly serious. "Can we do this forever? Just us? Like this?" Woo Bin knelt, pulling both Janice and Ji-min into his arms. "Forever," he promised. "That's the deal we made, remember? When you asked Miss Janice to marry you behind that counter?" Ji-min grinned. "Best decision I ever made." "Mine too," Janice whispered. Somewhere in the city, headlines had already moved on. Scandals faded, empire shifted, the world kept turning, indifferent and relentless. But here, in this small pocket of light, a waitress from nowhere and Korea's most feared CEO had built something unbreakable. A family, a future, a forever that started with 4 small words from a little boy hiding behind shelves. "Marry me, Miss Janice." And she had. Not because she had to, not because she was paid to, but because love, real, messy, inconvenient, beautiful love, had found her in the most unexpected place. Behind a counter, in the eyes of a brave little boy, in the heart of a man who'd forgotten to hope. And now, standing in the garden under firefly light, Janice understood the truth. Sometimes the greatest fairy tales don't start in castles. They start in the darkest moments, when a stranger becomes family and a fake promise becomes the realest thing you've ever known. Ji-min tugged both their hands. "Race you to the house," he shouted, already running. Woo Bin and Shanice exchanged a glance, full of love, mischief, and infinite tomorrows. Then they ran, chasing the boy who'd saved them both, laughter echoing into the night. Would you have said yes to save yourself? Could a fake engagement become real love? Drop your answer below and hit subscribe. This story will shatter your heart before it heals it. Don't miss what happens next. Also, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment of your country.